Nick Rutter for IDSCarCare.com. Today at the shop, I have Yvan Lacroix.
Happy to be here, sir.
Ivan, everyone knows who you are. You're the detailing efficiency
old guy.
Old guy. There we go. I like to call him the expert, but he doesn't like that title because you're always learning. But Ivan has a YouTube channel, and he demonstrates to detailers the proper techniques
of being an entrepreneur.
Of being an entrepreneur, and your detailing efficiency is your claim to fame, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, how he saves time with his various techniques and the innovative solutions that you have. So check it out, and also check out all the other videos that Ivan and I have done, because there's tons of great content. But today, we're focusing on the Jescar line of finishing products and advanced polishing techniques.
Right. And, you know, advanced polishing techniques, no, we don't have a hood to polish here or a car. We're just going to talk about them because they're actually simple to understand once you wrap your head around it.
Now, we know you guys like to geek out on this stuff, so we thought, what better than to pair your knowledge with the Jescar line here, and then, of course, our Redline pads from Lake Country.
Right.
So sit down, grab some popcorn, get it going in the microwave, and buckle in, because we're going to get pretty heavy on some of this stuff.
Some of the items, yeah.
And we're going to share some information with you that you're probably not familiar with, which I'll break the ice.
Yeah.
Jescar is an American line of products that has a history as the original importer of the Menzerna line.
Exactly.
So Menzerna is a German company. Jescar has been around since 1978. The owner, Jeff Silver, awesome guy.
Exactly.
Super approachable, super knowledgeable. And long story short, he created the Jescar finishing line, which is not just automotive, but he gets into other industries as well.
Oh, definitely, yes.
And the Jescar line of products covers everything from polishing compounds to sealants to tire protectants and ceramic sprays and pretty much everything in between. And Jeff took his knowledge, all these years of experience, and he sourced the best chemicals from various countries.
Exactly.
Proprietary abrasive technology, proprietary polymers, and the whole line's fantastic. It's something that the detailer can approach, obviously.
Yeah, but even the home user.
Even the end user, exactly.
Yeah,
so
because, you know, if you look at this line, it goes from the heaviest to the finest, and the heavy cut compound basically rocks in a bottle. It's great on gel coat as well, so if you've got really, you know, heavy cutting to do, this is definitely what you need. 1,200 grit sanding marks, it laughs at them.
With these, and
yeah,
and Jescar, they have a complete line, but what we're focusing on is their polishing compound.
Yeah,
and it's funny, the rocks in a bottle. That's how you would use the term you would use to describe like the old school polishing compounds.
Right, exactly.
And while this cuts like a son of a gun, when you feel it in between your fingertips, you're not going to feel that grittiness and that awful, inexpensive abrasive that's ground from the earth.
Yeah,
that scours and hazes your paint.
No, definitely. The abrasives are top quality. And the chemicals that go with the abrasives. So there's no silicones. They are all body shop safe.
Yep.
No fillers. So you're not going to have the problem of, if you're doing a ceramic coating, that you polish it, it looks great, and you wipe it off, and ooh, what happened? No.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So great line of products. The fine, you know, the fine one here, the before last one, great product for finishing. Is just spectacular, and they're all in one. Does a great job. So if you're doing a quick paint enhancement, it is a great tool to have in your arsenal.
Yeah, that would be considered their one step or their cleaner wax. And
right.
What I really appreciate about this line, besides the fact that Jeff, the owner, is so approachable and honest, is the fact that, you know, they have 4 different levels of cut here. These are all the body shop safe, you know, strictly finishing products.
Right.
You know, compounds and polishes, and you have your heavy cut here for jobs that require, you know, really want to get in there.
This is basically sandpaper in a bottle.
Yeah, so it'll take care of your sanding marks or your really heavy water spots or deeper
exactly.
scratches. And then they have their correcting compound, which is less aggressive than this, and then it tailors down. You have your medium polish, and then you have your fine polish. So they have something for every different application.
Right, and they all work well together. And that being said, you know, efficiency tips, that's why I'm here. If you're, let's say, starting with this one, well, when you go to the next one, you don't necessarily have to wipe it off. So they play well together. So they have that, you know,
same
synergy.
family of chemicals.
Exactly, same family of chemicals, same family of abrasives. It's just they're used differently in there. So once you've broken down these abrasives in the heavy cutting compound, well, you can go to the medium compound without having to wipe it off.
Yep.
So that's a big time savings. Now you can wipe it off, obviously, but It's not a necessity. So
yeah, and what he's describing is more of a unconventional way, which you're not going to see too many people do.
No.
But it's really only something that you can do when it's the highest quality engineered abrasives.
exactly.
If the abrasives are created in a lab, which the Jescar products utilize, then you can safely do that. But don't try that with the cheap stuff you get from the guy that drives the truck that comes to your parking lot, because you'll wreak havoc on your paint. Now, you'll see these 4 polishing compounds and you might think like, oh, gee whiz, is that a 4-step system?
No.
The answer is no. They give you selection so you can really dial in. But realistically, if you're doing the heavy cut compound, depending on the paint, you can follow with the medium or even the fine, and then slap some wax on it.
Yeah, or a coating, or a sealant,
or
whatever you want.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's the Jescar line, and you can apply these by hand, or by dual action, or by rotary.
Exactly. They're not machine specific.
Yes, and stay tuned for a more in-depth video on the Jescar line when Jeff Silver is at the shop, and we really go into the nitty-gritty, pun intended,
Yes.
with his abrasive technology and the polymers found in PowerLock and all that. So I'm really excited about that. But moving on from the Jescar line, what else do you want to talk about?
Well, the machines themselves. So there are 3 types of machines on the market. We have good old faithful, the rotary, and it literally just goes around in a circle. That's what a rotary does. My preference for this tool is actually finishing. And I know that's a little different than most, but I finish with a rotary, I cut with a DA. Because the DA is a little more aggressive in cutting.
Now let's give our customers a minute to rewind and play, rewind and play, rewind and play. That was not a gaff on the camera.
No, no editing required. Then you have your free spinning DA. So it spins and it oscillates. And this one is a 15 millimeter stroke, meaning that the oscillation is 15 millimeters and it turns freely. This type of machine, very popular in the industry. They cut well, they finish well, sort of the all-around machine.
Yeah, and we're showcasing the Flex line of tools. Flex is a German company. In terms of their machines, they're the best of the best.
The quality is without compromise.
Yep, and whether you're a detailer or you're a hobbyist, a beginner, you can approach these machines with confidence.
Yeah, the ergonomics on them are just spectacular. The rotary, I use it with 2 fingers. So I have one finger here and one finger here, and that's how I hold it.
It's an incredibly smooth machine, and we actually, we have the #1 right here.
Yeah, so it's the first one ever brought to the USA.
Yep, the first PE14, this was given to Bob McKee from Flex, back when Bob was the largest importer of Flex in the country when he owned AutoGeek.
Exactly.
And we had that in the case, and that's something we're proud of, and Bob especially is proud of it. So.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other thing that is a handy tool to have is a mini like this. Yeah. And this one is battery as well, which is even better. And you can change this one from a DA like this to a rotary if you want.
Or in that case, that's the 12 millimeter DA. So you have 2 DA attachments, 3 and a 12, and then you have a direct drive rotary as well.
Right, and you'll notice how small this is. Well, you can buy these really small pads from our friends here at IDS Car Care. So this allows you to get into spots that you normally wouldn't be getting into.
Those are great machines. And you get 2 batteries. And all these machines right here too, by the way, you can have corded or cordless.
Right.
So with each machine, you get 2 batteries and a charger. They're lithium ion, they last a long time, great quality.
Yeah. And speaking of detailing tools, we need to see what we're doing.
Yes, that is important.
And our friends at Scangrip, well, they make, without question, the best quality detailing lights you can find. And the headlamp is a great tool to use. I especially like it for interiors, but for paint correction, it's great as well. And it has a neat feature that you can actually turn it on with your hand and off with your hand. Now, the reason Nick is looking down is because if you were aiming at the camera, we'd be blinding you at this time. So, but great lights, they work phenomenally well. They allow you to identify paint defects, etc. And most of them are at least 2 intensities. This one is 5 intensities. And by intensity, we mean heat temp or color temperature. So 2500K to 6500K. And the smaller ones, like the headlamp, it actually has 2 color
You have a warm and a cold, yeah.
Yeah, 4500 and 6500, and same with this one. And this is by far the most popular one in the line. It's just a great handy tool to have, hangs on your pocket, has the hook on it, it's magnetic, just it goes everywhere.
And these are the best lights that money can buy. They're not the cheapest lights,
no,
because you get what you pay for.
Definitely.
You know, when you buy a cheap light at the local home improvement store, that's going to be what I call a summer tool, meaning it'll last you 2 or 3 months, get you through the summer.
Right.
This is a lifetime tool.
Definitely.
This is going to be a money maker for you, just like these machines and these chemicals.
Yeah.
They don't cost you money, they make you money.
Exactly. And speaking of making you money, the pad washer. So the System 4000 pad washer is from Lake Country, the same manufacturer as the pads that you'll find in the Redline pad system for McKee's.
Yep.
And it's just a must-have tool. As far as I'm concerned, you buy one of these, this should come with it. Yeah. But it'll raise the price of the machine a little too much. But nonetheless, the pad washer does a lot of things for you. First of all, it primes your pads. So your pads are just slightly lubricated, slightly damp, makes your pads softer, makes them easier to use. It's going to reduce the incidence of micro marring. And if you're using a DA in any, be it cutting or finishing, micro marring is a serious concern. And a lot of times you don't see the micro marring until you put a Scangrip light on it. Then you see it.
See how these work together? They all work together.
It's all one system. But anyways, so the pad washer is going to save you money in terms of pads. It's going to give you a better quality finish and a better quality cut with the pad washer.
Oh yeah, again, this is a tool. So if you're a car guy like me or a car guy like Ivan, you wrench on something, you have your toolbox at your house or in your shop, you open one of the drawers and you have tools. Those tools are an investment that make life easier for you.
Right. You might use the crow's foot wrench once a year, but the day you need it, you really need it.
I actually just got into a crow's foot wrench for my EGR valve a few months ago, and my gosh, I'll tell you what, man, I was jumping for joy.
Yes, exactly.
I wish my neighbors cared what I was doing, because I used that to get down in there and, knocked it loose. Otherwise, it would have taken me hours.
Yeah.
So that's a good example.
Very good example. But this is a lot more useful than a crow's foot. This is like the ratchet. So it's basically, I don't use a pad without cleaning it.
Yeah.
Even a brand new pad, I start by cleaning it because I want that dampness in it. And the other aspect of that is I never put clean polish on a dirty pad.
You're right, because when you polish, not only are you removing the swirl marks, but you're actually leveling the paint. You have clear coat that's coming off the surface that you don't see. Your abrasive powder that's broken down, your lubricating oils, your silicone oils, any kind of fillers, if you're using low quality products, they all interfere with how your polish performs. Exactly.
And if you ever cut single stage paint, you'll know exactly what we're talking about, because that gray pad will become whatever color in about 5 seconds. We recently did a John Deere tractor.
I saw that. That was a good one.
Yeah. And the color of the pad was spectacular. It was beautiful, John Deere green. And that takes like one pass and it's green. So, when you're doing single stage, you definitely know what we're talking about and you understand the need of a pad washer.
So when you're using the pad washer, the best way to use it, as you'll see Ivan here smiling in front of it, is with our Carolina detailing cart. And the reason why is you're not bending over constantly. So this cart is right at your hips where you want to be.
Right.
It's ergonomically correct.
Yeah, you're not bending over. It's just at the right height to use. And the other aspect of this is that it keeps it contained. So if you have this on the ground and your ground is a little slippery, as you're washing your pad, it tends to walk away on you. Whereas with the cart, you can actually lock these wheels, so it's not going to walk away on you.
And it also has room for all your stuff, so you can set your polisher down, you can set your man soda down, any of your compounds, your pads, whatever it is. So, and we have an in-depth video on the pad washer. I'll put a link, so make sure you check that out.
Yeah.
But moving on, so we've covered the polishing compounds, the tools, the cart. A common question I've received the last 12 years is, oh, my head's spinning, all these pads. What do I do with these pads?
Right.
And here we are. We got 4 different types of pads.
Yeah, we have 4 different types of pads. Actually, 5. But we have, so there's 6 different types of pads. Yeah. So we have foam, we have microfiber, we have foamed wool, and we have wool. And then we have different shapes of pads and different types of wool. So that's a twisted wool. This is what people, when you think of a non-detailer thinks of a polishing pad, that's what they think of.
You're right, yep.
And that is a great cutting pad, especially on single stage paint. They just do a wonderful job on a rotary. Useless on a DA. Yeah. So anything with a high nap on a DA just doesn't work because the fiber stays planted at the bottom. You have that 15 millimeter motion. It just moves with the fibers and it doesn't really cut. So these two are specifically for cutting on the rotary. Now on the DA, we can use foam to cut. And we have the CCS pad technology here, so collapsed cell structure. And there's 4 different grades of pads. And that being the gray, which is definitely a cutting pad, the orange, which is sort of the all-purpose pad, and the blue as well. You know, it's orange or blue. Which color do you prefer?
Yeah, for polishing or heavy polishing.
Yeah, and then for finishing, this pad.
And an easy way to tell, too, how aggressive a pad is simply by feeling it. You can feel this is really sharp.
Yeah.
Let me borrow this for a second, Ivan. Here on my mic, it's really sharp. Give me the black one. So this is not sharp. So this is much softer, and it's not as sharp. So this is for finishing, that's for cutting.
And same thing with the hardness, you know.
Yeah, the density of it.
The density of the foam, this is much softer. And you do need a couple different ones, but you don't necessarily need all 4. Choose one of the cutting ones, the finishing one, and then one of the medium ones. And the orange is sort of, like I say, the all-purpose pad.
Oh, sure, and I'll tell you, if you work on more than one car, it's good to have a selection of pads, meaning, you know, have variety. You know, we sell pads by the 6-pack,
Yeah.
and also by the single pad, but with the 6-pack, you save money, you mix and match the colors, and also no 2 paint systems are alike.
No.
So you might be working on single stage paint one day that responds extremely well to the waffle pads, but the next day you're working on a brand new Tundra pickup.
Right.
And you know, the CCS pad works better with a flat pad, so you need to have selection.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of pad shape, we have the collapsed cell structure, the CCS pads. We have the waffle pad, which has been around for a long time, and the black waffle is my favorite finishing pad. And then from there, we have the HDO pad.
Well, this is actually the forced hybrid pad.
Yeah, sorry, the forced.
But we do carry the HDO pad as well.
Yeah. So this is meant for the forced rotation machines. It's got a little thicker body to it, as you can see, and the shape is actually engineered to work with that type of machine.
Yeah, a lot of science goes into these foam pads.
Definitely, a lot of science, a lot of engineering. And then this is just your standard foam flat pad. And it works great.
And that's the most popular style. So you see all these and you're like, oh, I just want to keep this simple. You people are overwhelming me. I'm about ready to turn off my television.
Yeah.
Get the flat pad. This is the Redline, which Lake Country, they manufacture all our pads. They're the #1 pad manufacturer. This is the Redline pad. There's 4 colors. We keep it simple, and there's 3 sizes. So if you want something to fall back onto without getting extreme, boom, keep it simple.
And then finally, the microfiber pad. So we have a microfiber cutting and a microfiber finishing pad. These work very well on paint, but my preferred use for them, and we have a video on this, is actually the DA for cleaning leather.
Yeah, using your buffer to clean your leather.
Yes. So we're talking about polishing, but not just paint.
Yep.
So these work extremely well for cleaning leather. With the 70/30 leather cleaner, a bit of that on here, and just away we go.
Yeah. So when you pair that with McKee's 37 70/30, it's very popular.
Exactly.
Check out the video. I'll put a link below.
Yeah. And finally, you know, if we're talking about outside of the normal realm or outside of the box thinking, well, that wool pad there on your rotary for cleaning cloth seats.
We have a video on that too. And
Yes, we do.
That blew me away.
Yeah. It works well. It's simple. It's easy. Now you're going to need multiple pads because some seats, when they're really dirty, you're going to be using 3 or 4 pads on one seat.
Yep.
But that wool just absorbs that dirt out of the seat. You're not leaving the seat wet, and you're not leaving the seat grimy, and you're not getting the foam wet.
Yep.
So, and you know, a few other things when polishing. Personally, my style is no pressure at all. So we mentioned before, when I use this machine, I have 1 finger here and 1 finger wrapped around the cord, and that's how I hold the machine. And the rotary, a lot of people are afraid of this machine for some reason. You know, when I started detailing, these didn't exist.
Yeah, you had no choice.
DAs didn't exist, and rotaries weren't this light. You know, the old Milwaukee 1-speed or 2-speed rotary, basically solid aluminum with a bit of copper thrown in just for added weight, and just a very heavy machine, 1-speed on or off.
Yep.
Now we have variable speed. We can turn this down to 400 RPM with the trigger, 600 with the dial on it.
Yep.
So it'll go up to 2100 RPM. I've never turned a rotary that fast.
That's like a grinder.
Yeah, I keep it at the lowest speed. So speed 1, no pressure. You'll get a much better finish from your rotary. And we see a lot of people that hold the rotary up on an angle like this. No, keep it flat, keep it slow, and no pressure. The rotary will become your friend. On a DA, same thing. If you put too much pressure on, it actually stalls the pad. So the less pressure you use, the more cut you're going to have.
Yeah, rely on the mechanical cutting ability of your pad and also the abrasive powder in your compound. And you'll be surprised at the work that'll do for you.
Right. And you know, another thing we want to control is dust. Dust when polishing is not a good thing. The Jescar line is basically dust free.
And easy to wipe off too.
Yeah, but you can make I can make any polished dust if I want to. I just need to turn up the speed, put pressure on it till it dries out.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you work it intelligently, you won't get any dust. You won't need to clean the car after you've compounded it. And that's something, you know, in the 70s and the 80s, we compound a car and there'd be so much dust that we'd have to wash it again.
You have to wash it. Now you don't have to do that with good quality compounds and polishes. And
right, and the pads have changed so much over the years as well.
So cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Ivan, thanks for your time.
Yeah. We
went in depth here. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments box. Ivan will respond, I'll respond. But for the most part, you know, those are the essential tips and products and techniques.
Yeah.
And some inside info on one of your favorite brands, and you know, for you guys to geek out on.
And don't forget, subscribe to this guy's channel and maybe give him a thumbs up as well.
Please do. And for more information about these products, visit idscarcare.com. I'm Nick Rutter.
I'm Yvan Lacroix.
Pleasure to meet you. Take care and God bless.